and welcome back to Star Trek The Next Frontier. Is it The Next Frontier or is it Next Frontier? I don't even remember. Next Frontier. There's no the. Next Frontier, right?
You're the GM, man.
Who cares? Star Trek.
We'll go with what you say.
Something related to a frontier and the next one. So, welcome back to Star Trek Next Frontier. This is episode 1 of our second season. Can you believe that? We made it to season 2 and it only took 4 years. That's not so bad. Unless, oh well. Anyhow, it's been quite a long break, as we all know very well in the Discord, thinking the game had died. But we are back, and we are going to get a recap of what happened at the end of Season 1. And as always, our illustrious Lieutenant Frank Drake is going to provide us with the details. Are you ready?
I'll give you what I can remember.
That's good enough. Okay, please start.
Yep, so the Season 1 finale started with us getting trapped in some weird, unknown subspace, being hunted for weeks on end. Eventually, we managed to escape, and just before being completely destroyed by the biggest ship we've seen, shouting out that we are Starfleet scared them away from us, and we went off and hid in another pocket of this subspace. Whilst in there, flying around, we found some very strange ghost person on a planet who pointed us in the right direction. And we then got attacked by the Borg, which was always a fun thing. Turns out the Borg is the old Starfleet ship, the Darwin, who we've been searching for. After a lot of tension between everybody involved and a lot of guns pointing when no one's looking, we finally came to an agreement on how we should proceed going forward. Oh, yes, they did attack us, but they didn't mean to. We're all friendly now. We agreed on how to proceed. We're going to exit through the very distant, infinitely distant star that we can see, which isn't infinitely far away. But we upgrade the Borg ship using our new technology to allow them to jump us through this star. To which we finally, after a bit of awkwardness, upgrade the ship, jump through the star, and arrive in a white space. Inside the white space, the members of the Darwin get off the Darwin, even though there's no air outside, according to my console, and do something. It all goes white. The ending of the season ended with Thashran, who's unfortunately not here today, waking up in Starfleet Academy with his lady friend. I believe was the final section. Yes, Akatian, I believe it was. Or if that's how you pronounce it.
Cation, I believe they say, but yes, that's very good.
Apologies.
There were a couple moments in your description where I thought to myself, "Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't that?" So yeah, thank you. That was a very good recap. Thank you very much. That was nice. Is there any other detail anyone remembers you would like to mention that Drake maybe did not bring up, but something you want to mention?
I actually feel like I've missed a session. Was I there last time?
Well, that wasn't all just the last episode. That he was kind of recapping the big points from maybe the past 3 up until the last. Yeah.
Because I remember this cliffhanger in my shrine.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You have your own little cliffhanger part. Do you recall exactly what happened there?
I think I had been getting weird readings on from my shrine, where I have these sensors installed, and then I went in there and did I start one of my meditation practices?
I don't know if you were starting the meditation, but you got the readings that like something was like the strange radiation signals had returned. Yeah.
And then there was a bright light and a person that reached out and said, "You have to come with me right now." And I think that was the end. But I think there was something happening with the ship at the same time.
That was kind of when all this was going down. They were inside that star, or that white space, whatever it was. So the ship was getting into that, And that's when you got the readings, the alarm on your shrine that those things were happening. So you went to investigate.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you stepped out, and then that happened to you,
Hmm.
and you jumped in and vanished, as you should.
Again.
Yeah, again, as you keep doing. Yeah. Yes, but that was how Mabrin ended his season. Anyone else have anything they want to mention? Any other detail? I think
James.
Yes.
James was fading at the end of the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
She was holding a data pad and doing something in engineering when the data pad just fell through her fingers. She went to go pick it up and could not. And that's when her scene ended.
Okay, so James was having some particularly troubling issues of her own to deal with. Anyone else?
I think it's also important to mention that the captain is pretty much dead at this point.
No,
and
it's fine.
Put it simply.
And still aboard the Darwin, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead aboard the Darwin, instead dead aboard the DeGrasse Tyson with the rest of you, right?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, so and that I guess has left Lulk still in temporary command of the ship.
Yep, he's still.
But otherwise he's not doing much.
Yeah.
Nothing, not nearly the cliffhangers that other characters have. So
he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's just watching it from afar. Anyone else have anything? Any other little bit they remember they want to bring up? I think having heard from Krell or Thadaji. Krell, I think you unfortunately weren't in the last episode, were you?
I think I was there for
just
most
a portion,
but I missed the ending.
The very ending, right? Yeah.
Yes. And the last thing I remember, I failed a couple tasks in engineering, and then I was like, "Well, see you guys later."
Yeah, but that could have been any episode with you. Like, who knows what that is anymore? Okay, yeah, that's yeah.
I'm setting up a force field that just doesn't allow Krell through.
Yeah. No, he just has to pass a basic engineering task to get through it. So that'll keep him out for good. Like, dang it, can't do this. Thadaji,
I only have an associate's degree in engineering, okay?
Hey, he's helping out. He's helping out James. You should give him some credit. He's doing his best, That's not really where he's supposed to be. He's trying to help you, right? Thadaji, anything on your side you want to mention, just in case?
I remember correctly, I was still at the time, I was still working on the other Lieutenant James.
I
remember correctly.
Yes. Don't forget that, everyone. There's another Lieutenant James, where we have the holographic Lieutenant James and we have the comatose Lieutenant James. So yeah, that's quite a major plot point too, I think.
Just a little.
Just slightly. Just slightly. Okay, I think that's everything. And yes, unfortunately, for those of you who may be watching this on YouTube 15 years from now when I upload it, Thishran, again, two made THs, Thishran is not here tonight, so hopefully he'll be here in the second session. We'll resume his arc there, but also our good friend Lieutenant Alder cannot make it tonight, but for a very good reason. He is now a brand new proud papa, so he is very, very, congratulations there, Alder. He's busy with his new bundle of joy, taking care of her, so we're wishing him well, and hopefully when his schedule lightens up a bit, which who knows how long that might take, hopefully he will be right back here and joining us, but for now, he's taking a break. So
it'll only be another 21 years.
Only 21, yeah. They go by fast, and at the rate we play games, I mean, he'll be back by episode 3 of season 2, so we should be good. All right, well then let's get into this then. Now with the people who are here, trying to think of the best place to start this up. Just don't mind right now that I don't have any graphic in the top corner there on Roll20. We still have just our start screen, our access granted there. Just use that for now and do a little bit of theater of the mind while we get this early scene set up. Is that okay?
Yep, all good.
All right, so we are going to start quickly with Commander Locke. You are feeling your adrenaline pumping, your blood is pumping. You are at, your senses are at their height. You are in the zone, they would say. You are feeling the rush of combat, the joy that every Klingon warrior like yourself savors as you are in the midst of battle. There is, you feel the ship rocking around you, and there is a lot of lights and sounds going off around you as you see on the viewport the target swinging in and out of view as you're chasing him. It is a Jem'Hadar fighter. It has suffered a lot of damage, and so far the vessel, you are hunting it down. It seems to be retreating, or at the very least you are on an attack pattern and it's trying to evade you as your blasts are coming out from your ship's weapons. You hear your crew around you communicating back and forth to each other. The sound is kind of distant, as if your ears were clogged, but it's slowly starting to fade in, similar to your vision. You feel slightly discombobulated as you're sitting there, like as if you lost your attention, and you're not really sure what happened, but you feel the rush that you are in, and you know that your enemy is almost defeated, and you don't want it to get away. As you stare out the viewport in your command chair. What is your reaction, sir? What are you intending on doing?
I don't stop looking at the viewport and say, Lieutenant, status report.
You hear a voice off to the side, almost stutter a little before replying. The shields are down to 20%. We have them, Commander.
Increase pressure.
You see more very intense green blasts of energy come from around the side of the viewport and keep peppering the back of this Jem'Hadar ship. It keeps shaking and rattling as it's trying to evade your targeting. You hear another voice from behind you shout, Commander, our allies are closing in as well.
Well then, I guess we'll just have to beat them there.
You hear a roar of laughter around you and shouts in Klingon as the vessel on the viewport gets a little bit larger and larger as you race closer towards it. And let me hang on here. Let me see one more thing. Oh, well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Oh, I see what that is. Do I? Hang on one second here as I try to do this. Here's something also very interesting with the new, I guess it's new, the new Roll20. Where is that? Let me click on this. Yeah, Roll20 has changed completely since we last played, and I spent a lot of time yesterday getting it.
Whoa, that's cool.
Getting it set up. But here's the other interesting thing right now. As I just went there to change the map, it's entirely different than it was yesterday. It's entirely different. What's that?
You have the beta turned on?
I thought I did. I thought I did because that's what I was working with all last night. And now it's not on. Let's see here. Oh no, I see going into the settings here. Beta is now turned off. So let me do that and reload the page and see what the heck happens. Okay, let's see. What are you all seeing on there? That's what I want to know. Can you see that? Can you see the screen?
Klingon ship.
Okay,
Yep.
good. Thank God for
Yes.
that. Yeah, I was actually up until 2 in the morning yesterday, figuring out Roll20 and getting all the visuals working again. And now, of course, as soon as we launch the game, it resets off of beta. And I opened the menu and it's like, this is not what I set up last night. Okay, lovely. But you can see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. No, I'll skip the tour. I already did the tour. All right. So you are now realize you are on board of a Klingon bird of prey, easily recognizable, and you know this is the ship that you have been in command of for quite a while, but for some reason it just feels odd to you. You're not sure why. It's the thought of you being on the ship is standing out as being peculiar because you've been commanding it for a while, but this is the Kir-A, which you have been given command of.
All right. As my mind drifts toward this strange feeling of being in this room, I suddenly realize that I'm not focusing on the screen and shift my attention back to the screen.
Okay. You see again. Your orders are being carried out. They are continuing the pursuit of this Jem'Hadar fighter, and they are just unloading their weapons on it, hitting with most hits as its engines are starting to flag.
Why are they still in front of us? I thought I said to increase pressure. I don't see an explosion on this screen in the next 10 seconds.
You get a roar of approval behind you, and the ship keeps on upping its intensity of firepower. Meanwhile, Drake, you're at the controls of the tactical console, and you feel like your head was just spinning around you for a second. You almost lose your balance, but you quickly plant your foot down, brace yourself, and you stand at your console. You look ahead at the viewport, and you see Jem'Hadar fighter with trailing plasma from lots of damage coming off the rear of the vessel as the Klingon bird of prey closes in and just keeps unloading the weapons on it. The captain calls back to you, or calls over to you, and said, Drake, status report.
I look down at my console and scan the ship to see how much shields are left and the status of their engines.
Okay,
Weapons.
you see by this point that the shields are around somewhere between like 12 and 15%. They keep fluctuating. The weapons are going offline, but you notice there's a strange power buildup as it's slowing down.
Captain, there are around 15% shields and the weapons are down. However, there's some weird energy buildup. We might need to move quickly.
You hear the captain let out a sigh, and those Klingons are going to fly right into it. They're just... I swear their bloodlust is the best and worst part of Klingons.
I give a little and wait for an order.
Okay. Can I just have you take just a very quick roll because I want to build up some momentum for everyone. Because remember, we start with 0. I forgot to tell you, I'm starting with 2 threat for everyone this time. I know last episode was 3 because of the intensity of the finale. This is 2 threat, so I believe I have 12 threat right now, correct? So I don't know if anyone is go. There are only 5 players?
No, I just don't want 12 threat.
Ah, I see. Again, I'm not even looking at the screen, so I'm not sure. I can't remember who's here and who's not. If anyone's going to be keeping track of that on Discord, yeah, we'll just say on the 12 threat right now, and currently 0. So let's do a scan there. Hang on a second. Roll 20 now. Sign me out. And as a GM, and it's only giving me access as a player. So fun technology. So give me 1 second. Okay, so let me take a quick look at this. Okay. This is okay. All right, I think I have my section working. Why is this being so hard? That's what I want to know. Why is this being so hard? So yeah, could you just give me a quick control and security?
Security.
Yeah,
yep.
Control and security. And can somebody roll? I don't know if you have access. So let me take a look. Can somebody roll for the ship? Let's see. Hang on a second. Let me save changes here. And let me move this down to do we have starships? Yeah, let me move this down to starships. See if you can see it there. Would anyone be willing to roll for this? On the starship.
Get some rolls in.
Okay. So go to the starships tab and see if you can find the USS Zimmerman.
I got Zimmerman pulled up.
Okay.
Character sheet is up. Okay.
All right.
Oh wait, no, it's only giving me basic info and shows me a picture of like a nebula class or something like that.
Well, good to know. Let me see if I could change the things on that there, because again, Roll20 decide to change so much since the last time we played. Yes, I'm blaming them, not us, for being slow. So see if that works now.
All right, double clicking on the Zimmerman. There she goes.
That works, and you know what? I'll do what I was trying to do when it prevented me from doing that. I will put the screen on the Zimmerman. Can you see the Zimmerman on your side?
Can see the Zimmerman.
You can.
Yeah, awesome captain right there. That guy looks cool. Oh shit. We got Jensen in there too.
Okay, hang on.
That's me.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me try to scroll that because it's not showing me on my side for OBS, but I think we got it now. Okay. And then, yeah, it's just sensors for the Zimmerman because you're doing a scan, so it would be the science and control.
All right.
Complication range?
Complication range 1. And it's
roll
basically difficult 0, so 2 dice from you, and that's it, just a regular scan.
And my focus is on, because it's the shipboard tactical systems. I assume I'm on tactical, right?
Yes, and the Zimmerman always has the focus on because it's a ship. Okay.
2.
Oh, but that's okay. Oh, and the ship would only roll 1, but that's okay because both are 0s. So not. Hang on a second. I'm seeing a little error there. It says false 0 plus science 2. So I think something went wrong with the Zimmerman there. Let's see. Can you try that roll one more time?
Okay.
Was it sensors and science and just task roll of 1?
Task roll of 1.
Yeah, there was an error there.
The badge, right? Complication range 1.
Yes, sir.
There she goes.
There she goes. It's still showing 2. That's weird.
Senses and science.
Yeah, it's sensors and science, but it's still showing 2 rolls for some reason. Oh well, who cares? We'll figure that out later. Anyhow, we'll score that as 3 momentum on your side. you see, indeed, it is a tactic you have witnessed a lot during the Dominion War of the Jem'Hadar vessels when they are about to be defeated. They try to lure in the enemy, and they overload their engines to take out both ships. And the
Captain, I think they're
Klingons
about to suicide bomb.
let me guess, the Klingons aren't even going to answer our hails, but you could try get Commander Locke online.
Yes, sir. And I try and come over to the bird of prey. I forgot the name already.
Kira.
Kira, yes.
Yeah. Okay, meanwhile, back on the bird of prey, you hear your first officer behind you, Locke, shouting out, "Starfleet is trying to talk to you, Commander."
Put them on the view screen.
Okay, you get the Nebula-class ship popping up on the screen.
As soon as he pops up, before he can say anything, "You're too late. They're ours, Starfleet."
As he opens his mouth to speak, you know exactly who this is. You've been working together with Starfleet during the war, and this is the ship you are paired with, the USS Zimmerman. You recognize very easily Captain. Well, do you recognize him? Can I ask you that before I actually remind you?
Only vaguely. I feel more like I should recognize him, but for some reason I don't.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a good thing. You know his name as you look at him, like there's that pause as something's not right to you. And you know it's Captain Henderson. Captain Wayland Henderson. And when you see him and you're boasting about your kill, something just feels very off about this to you, even though to you everything is normal. Something feels wrong. You almost feel as if he was your captain. It's an odd sensation. But while you're having those thoughts go in, he stands up, is like, "Commander Locke, I must warn you, they are using your Klingon battle rage against you. They are overloading their engines. They will destroy both of your vessels. You have won, Commander. Just call it off. They have no way out now."
At that point, I'm shook out of my rage, and from the combination of the confusion and then the sudden threat, and I look to my first officer and say, "You heard the man. Get this ship out of the explosion radius as quickly as possible. Pull back."
There's a bit of a hesitation before the officer at the helm says, "Aye, Commander," and he pulls the bird of prey away just in time for you to clear, and the vessel explodes, taking out what would have been both of you had you continued the pursuit. Behind you, your first officer, Jakar, he calls over, "A brilliant tactical move, Commander."
Of course it was. Are you questioning my brilliance? Do you need to say it aloud?
We need to sing it aloud. Ha 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 ha.
Save it for when you have your pint in front of you to later tonight.
And there's a bunch of roars around you of your crew as they celebrate the victory. Meanwhile, back on the Zimmerman, Captain Henderson sits down, lets out another sigh. Just one scout ship. Why did we have to go through this whole ordeal and almost lose yet another one of our allies just to please the Klingons' bloodlust? Commander, what do you think?
Was that to me?
When you don't answer, he turns and looks at you. Commander?
Captain.
What do you think we should do next?
I'm a little bit confused as to. I don't know why I'm confused though, but I'm a bit confused. And I guess discuss the plans with the Klingon friends.
Yeah, I suppose. Send a message over to the Kier. Tell Locke to meet us at Deep Space Nine.
Yes, sir.
You send the message and you kind of absentmindedly touch your collar and you feel 3 pips on your collar.
Feels weird, but I guess I'm not going to complain.
There you go.
It's the norm, right?
Of course not. Okay, jumping ahead, if we can, actually. I need to get something else prepared. We're going to Lieutenant James. Lieutenant James, are you still there?
I am.
Well, that's good. Hang on one second. I'm trying to get this ready for you over here. Lieutenant James, you feel like you're in a dream state right now. You feel it's a very unusual sensation for you where you feel like you are intangible. And you recall your issue that you had previously in engineering, that you dropped your data pad. For some reason, you couldn't hold on to it. You feel like your holographic coherence was starting to come undone. And you recall rushing out of engineering, trying to get to either the holodeck or somewhere that you could stabilize your holographic structure. Even though you're not connected to any holomatrix at the time, you realize you have to get to somewhere quickly. And those memories are coming back to you, but it feels again like you're in a dream. You don't see anything. You don't feel anything under you. You don't feel anything around you. It feels almost like you are in a whirlwind spinning around. And as the memories keep coming back and fading by you, you remember going through the hall and there being a flash of light, some intense, unknown energy surge. You remember hearing the voice of Lieutenant Weber, and then everything disappeared for you. But slowly, you start coming to. You start feeling like you can hear sounds again. You start feeling like you can touch things again. There is some tactical sensation to you. You hear the sound of engine, the very soft, distant sound of engine humming around you, and the sound of somebody walking on a deck plate. The sound that very familiar of Starfleet boots on a Starfleet deck plate that is so familiar to you. It all starts coming in slowly, piece by piece, when you come to and your vision comes in and you are in some sort of darkened chamber. There's lights around you, very dim lights and strange lights, I would say, as your mind is not adjusting to your surroundings quite as much as you would expect. You think you're in some place Starfleet. It has that feel, but it doesn't look like anywhere on the DeGrasse Tyson, if that makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
And as you start to, I guess, coalesce back into your form as Lieutenant Megan James, you can hear the breathing of somebody next to you, and you can feel their presence there, somebody next to you, in the dark.
All right. I would slowly and carefully sort of put my hand out and say, "Who are you?"
Okay, you reach out in the dark and your hand grabs onto a sleeve as you ask the question. And Mabrin, that kind of wakes you out of your stupor that you were in, standing in the dark. Some hand grabs you, and suddenly, like that, you're back at it. You don't know how you got there and why you're in the dark room, and all of your senses start come rushing in with the darkness, the strange lights in the darkness, the sound of an engine vibrating silently under the floor plates, and the familiar feeling of being on a Starfleet ship, but nowhere that you have served on before. But you recognize the voice of Lieutenant James call out to you and ask, "Who are you?"
Lieutenant James, is that you?
Weber? Yes, it is.
Do you have any idea who we could be?
Computer, lights.
The lights come up inside the room. At first it looks like a normal starship cargo bay, but then you notice some very strange additions put into it. Behind you, there's a series of Borg alcoves.
I quickly look to Weber and make sure he's not Borg, and then look down to make sure I'm not Borg.
Yeah.
Does it look like an older ship? Like, given I have been on the Darwin, does it follow the design of what I had seen? I don't think I'd been in the cargo bay, but the ship would have a certain style to it.
No, not at all. Not at all. It doesn't. It looks much more like a modern vessel.
Right.
Both of you could do a roll, and just to try to use your knowledge of ships. That would be a con roll, actually, because that's used for knowledge of starships and starship operations. So if you would like to do a reason and con, either one of you, or both of you, and you could try to piece together where you are, but you clearly recognize the Borg elements installed on the vessel.
Is that an actual console next to us?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And again, I
All right.
just do want to point out to everyone that I'm using lots of stock images in that to give you an idea of what's around you. So don't take it as set in stone that that's exactly what things are going to always look like. But use it for inspiration, and if you want something to, or you expect something to be there that's not in the image, go for it, because this is just to get your imagination going. Don't think it's the only thing that's there, and don't think it's exactly what's there. Okay, I'm off my soapbox again.
Well, that's sort of why I asked if there was actually a console there.
Yes.
Because I'll quickly scoot over to the console and do a little inquiry of see if I can see what the ship name is and class.
Okay. Yeah. So James rushes over to the console and she starts tapping away at that. Weber, would you like to do anything?
Oh, I just go with her and we'll go over her shoulder.
Okay. So you, the two of you, go over to show. Can you please check with me? Can you manipulate your icons on the map by yourself? Can you do that and move yourself around, or I just want to see? Okay, I just want to make sure that still works. So, yeah, if you want
Actually, while James is typing, I'm asking her, Lieutenant, do you remember anything from right before you came here?
Still typing, sort of pauses a little bit for a second and then goes back to typing. I was in engineering, then making my way, I think, to the holodeck.
Did you see a person?
Sorry?
Did you see a person? Because I feel like I've been pulled over here by someone.
No. No.
This is weird.
I sort of stopped typing for a second and reach over and pinch my arm because, last I couldn't pick anything up, and although I'm typing, it's like that sort of sudden, it's all still fuzzy, it's still, so reach over, pinch myself, and it's like, ow. Right, okay. And then go back to working the console.
Okay. All right, you go. It doesn't take very long to pull up. You get the registry of the ship. You see on the console it comes up. You are aboard an Intrepid class vessel, registry number NCC 74656, listed as the USS Voyager.
Ooh.
Out of character timeline wise, we are aware it disappeared.
And quite recently it was when contact was just reestablished with them. So
right, okay.
Starfleet has not very long ago. So probably before you got into the subspace, there would have been news that Voyager was discovered as being in the Delta Quadrant.
My jaw drops and I look to Weber. You're not going to believe this.
What is it?
I sort of step aside so he can look at the console.
Oh, how is this possible?
I quickly have a look at the crew manifest, see if we are currently intruders or whether we're somehow actually part of the crew or what, like.
Okay.
What's going on?
So you start going through the crew manifest, and you do not see either of your names listed there.
All right. Did they get
Go ahead.
assimilated?
What was that, Weber?
I was just wondering if I can, if I have any memory of that person that pulled me over, because I think it was just kind of a shadow.
Yeah, again, you're trying to rack your brain. It's like when you stepped into the light, you feel like just like the first time you disappear, you feel like you were engaging with this person. You had a conversation. You are aware of who this person is. But once you are out, all those memories just start draining from you quickly as they did the last time.
Well, I mean, those alcoves aren't a good sign.
No, I was just about to say. But it's only those four, right? I mean, the four we know from the show, or asking as a player.
Oh, as a player, yeah, you only see that small section of alcoves there. Nothing else. Nothing else in the room as you look around appears to have any Borg technology on it.
Well, do we make ourselves known?
The computer does react to us, right? Because
the computer doesn't what?
The computer reacts to
oh,
us,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Computer, are there any Borg on board this ship?
The computer comes back and answers, there are no Borg aboard this vessel.
Computer, are there any humans on board this ship?
There is one human located on this vessel.
I look at Weber.
What about us?
Right.
Computer, one person in addition to us, or just one person in general?
One human in general.
Well, the ship isn't that big. We could try to find him or her.
Well, I dare say it's one of us. Probably you.
Bajoran, Weber.
Oh. Computer, how many Bajorans on board?
There is one Bajoran located on this vessel.
Right. Computer, where is the ship located?
The ship is currently in the Delta Quadrant. And it gives a position for you.
Yeah. Right. Well. So we're alone on a ship in the Delta Quadrant.
At that moment, you see the computer screen that on the console where you're at, it goes blank and you see the big red flash of lockdown mode on.
Well, no one else that's on board just got really annoyed at us. Computer, are there any other life signs other than Weber and myself?
The computer doesn't respond.
Quickly look around
What's
for...
lockdown? I'm sorry.
No, you go.
Lockdown meant just the console shutting down, or?
I dare say someone's annoyed that we're here and is stopping us using the console.
Yeah, okay, so it's just about the console. It's not that we're locked in this room now. Because we could try to get to the bridge.
Well, I dare say we're about to be visited by some form of security team.
And with that said, the door does pop open, and two figures step in. You see in their hand phasers are drawn. Neither of them are in Starfleet uniforms. There is. Hang on 1 second while I actually find. The right picture, because again, roll 20. Let's see. I think that's working. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. All right. So two figures step in, and they are armed with phasers, and neither of them are in Starfleet uniform.
Oh.
But they come in pointing at...
They already shot me.
You're all right. He fainted. Steps in.
Back?
The one female in the silver cat suit, she looks at the two of you and says, "Identify yourselves." And we are going to pause there for a moment.
I will just quickly. Weber, if you highlight your icon.
I like him rolling around on the floor. I like him doing that. Don't stop him.
You'll see a little blue line with a square at the top. If you click on the blue square, you can move in a circle, which rotates your character.
I don't see a square.
It's a very light blue line that will come off your, like where your head is. It goes out.
There.
Yep, if you click on that, there you go.
I liked him rolling around. Okay. All right.
Sorry for that interruption.
No. It's good to know how to figure out how to use Roll20 after this. Okay. All right. So switching scenes yet again. We're going to go very quickly to right now. Krell, if I may.
Krell here.
Okay, Krell, you I feel like you were almost falling asleep and you jolt yourself awake as if you know you should not be sleeping right now. It's way, way, way too crucial for you to be on full alert, but you feel like your attention had been slipping, and you do one of those kind of nod off and then jump up, getting yourself back to your full senses. Your heart is starting to race quickly because of that, but you just naturally go back into your secondhand relaxation techniques of breathing and being able to calm yourself and slow your heart rate and get back into a very focused position. And you realize that, yes, you're still at the controls of your shuttle and you are still on course.
Krell, he's kind of just at his console, doing pushing his buttons, and he asks the computer, computer, time to arrival.
You hear a very clearly Cardassian voice on the computer reply to you. You will arrive at the coordinates within 1 hour.
And Krell is kind of just he's thinking for a minute, where was I going? Computer, confirm destination.
It gives you a destination in the Bajor system, somewhere in the Denorios belt.
Denorios belt, Bajor system. Am I? Threll kind of Krell looks around.
When you turn your head looking around, you see you're on a Cardassian ship, and when you look in the passenger side, there's just a young human sitting there next to you, looking at you with kind of a lopsided grin, as if he's enjoying this.
Does Krell recognize the human?
You recognize him. It takes a second, but you recognize him that he is the prisoner you are transporting.
And he's human, not Bajoran?
He's human.
What is your name?
He smiles and he said, "Oh, I thought we were over that."
I seem to have dozed off and lost focus.
Oh, yeah, I was watching.
You're in an awfully good mood for a prisoner.
Well, I don't know if I would call this a good mood, but sometimes it's fun to see this play out. It's kind of hard to explain to someone like you, but there are moments.
What do you mean, someone like you?
Oh, don't you worry about it. We just have a lot of work to do.
Can you elaborate?
Well, if we don't get killed when we arrive at the coordinates, then I will do my best to elaborate with everyone. This is a prisoner exchange, after all, or negotiation, or I don't know what you call it. You notice he's in a Starfleet uniform, but from your memory of how Starfleet operates, it's an older uniform that they haven't worn for a couple of years now.
Ooh, can you describe the uniform to me?
Yeah, it's the black trousers and the black jacket with a red shoulder coloring, and there seems to be a depending on what season you're watching, a grayish or a purplish turtleneck underneath.
Oh, the story's getting good. Krell he's just kind of sitting there, and he rubs his face off a little bit and rubs his eyes and his temples, and then he looks down at himself. What is Krell wearing?
You are dressed in a typical Cardassian. I don't know if you would call it armor or just the usual the uniform they wear.
Epic. Okay. Krell kind of, he's trying to shake it off. He's feeling a little confused. He slaps himself on each side of his face. Human, do you recall who we were transferring you for? Or the purpose of these negotiations?
Oh, the purpose of the negotiations was to prevent the end of all existence, I believe, was the words thrown around.
Krell is just really confused right now, but he kind of just goes with the flow at the moment. He's like, computer, increase speed to destination.
The computer chimes and you feel the engines kick up a little stronger. Now,
And,
you don't want to look too intimidating when you arrive. There are going to be Klingons there.
Klingons. And he kind of thinks to himself, with this, if it's the time frame he's thinking it is, the Cardassians and Klingons are enemies, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is he armed? Is Krell armed?
Yeah, you have your typical Cardassian sidearm.
Okay. And there are no other life forms other than this human?
No, just the two of you, yeah.
He's really confused. He's like visibly confused too, and he kind of stands up in his seat, and he goes over to the human, and he kind of lifts him up on his feet too by both of his arms.
Okay. He's just smiling into your face the whole time.
Something doesn't feel right about this. You know something. Tell me what you know.
I told you the same as I told all your superiors, that I will let everyone know when the time comes.
Do you know who I am?
Yes, you are. Of course. Well, you are Thindril Krell. You are the son of a very prominent Obsidian Order big shot, from what I recall. But if I'm not mistaken, you are also Lieutenant Junior Greg Krell, who served aboard the USS DEGRASSE TYSON that got destroyed. So, which one is this? It's all confusing, isn't it?
And now he's even more confused. He's got his hands on both sides of his head, and he's like, who am I? What is going on here?
It is
And
hard to figure out, isn't it? He says as he sees you very, very perplexed.
And he pushes the human back down in the seat, and he motions back over the computer. Computer, identify all passengers on board this shuttle.
There is one Cardassian, Thindril Krell, and one unknown human.
Computer, stardate.
It gives you a star date that I didn't bother to look up before we start recording here, but it would be, oh my god, do I have the star date from the last episode record? It would be roughly about very similar to the same time as on the last episode. So
Okay.
Star date 5-3, let's say 600 or 700-ish, somewhere around there.
Something isn't right. Do I remember everything from the
you're remembering lots of pieces. You're remembering basically two entirely different lines of life. Yeah.
Wow.
So like you're recalling, but you're not recalling. It's there, but it's not there. So you're not sure which is real and which is fake.
Krell's gonna get on the console, and he's gonna try to look for his orders or like his mission to see if it's on board the computer.
As usual, there's nothing directly entered into the computer for top secret missions in case the shuttle is captured, so everything would be committed to your memory.
He's going to search his memory to see if he remembers anything before this.
You just remember conferencing with a lot of the higher-ups in the Obsidian Order and some of the Dominion higher-ups when this human was discovered on Cardassia Prime. And there were a lot of very private meetings that you were not privy to, but your father, being a very high-ranking official in the Obsidian Order, he came and entrusted you with this mission to return this prisoner, but he didn't give you very many details on it. He said you just had to do it, and it was very important that you bring him to a specific location and introduce him to a specific Klingon commander.
Krell's gonna just sit back down in the cockpit and continue on course for now.
Okay, as you go on, the human looks at you. Would you mind if I try to catch a little bit of sleep before we get there? It's an unusual sensation for me to lose consciousness, and I would like to indulge for a bit.
These might be your last moments, human. Do whatever makes you happy.
Well, that goes for both of us. And he closes his eyes and he sort of scoots back, even though his hands are still chained and locked with binders. He still seems to be somewhat enjoying his situation.
And Krell looks over him, and he's getting a bit angry as well. Like, I don't understand how you can be so excited for what's about to happen. Do you know who you're dealing with?
This makes him open his eyes, and he sits up. He says, I don't think you know who we're dealing with.
I'm just so confused. Computer, scan for other vessels in the area.
Scan returns nothing.
He's Krell's just gonna continue on course for now then.
Okay.
Can't think of any.
Shuttle continues on its way. Lieutenant Thidagia, are you there, sir?
I am.
Okay, Thidagia, you are just doing your regular medical checkups. You are making sure that the crew is okay after the very brief skirmish with the Jem'Hadar. There really wasn't any big problem with your vessel because it was just the Klingons that engaged with them. But still, regulations with how intense the Dominion War is proceeding means you need to confirm that everyone is in full tip-top shape after any kind of encounter. So you're doing your best down in sickbay when you get a chime on your comm in your office.
The Dodger here.
Commander, this is Captain Henderson. Can you come to my ready room quickly, please?
I believe I can do that, sir. My way.
Okay. As you head through the hall, you realize you make a wrong turn as soon as you get out, thinking you're going to the turbolift, but you realize after a few steps you are not going to where the turbolift is. You would be going that way if this were a Nova class ship, but then you remember, no, I've been serving aboard the USS Zimmerman. That's a Nebula class, much bigger ship, and the turbolift is nowhere near here. But it just feels odd to you that you're making that mistake.
I've been looking around somewhat strangely. That's somewhat odd. Computer. Directions to turbolift.
The computer tells you which corridors to go down, and you realize, oh, yes, of course, that's right.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm going to continue down
Okay.
my way here to the turbolift. Am I noticing anything out of place?
Nothing out of place, but you are kind of feeling like you are the one who's out of place.
I'm going to pull out my tricorder and just do a small scan on myself.
Okay. As you're riding up the turbolift, you start scanning yourself. Can you give me a I'll just let you do the scan there. So a control on science, please. Do you need someone rolling for you, or do you have your dice?
I have my actually I have my roll 20 up here. I
Okay.
can try that again.
Oh yeah, if you want to
Control.
give that a shot, see if that doesn't screw up your system.
Right. See how this works.
Oh, and it's even showing. I think you're rolling the challenge dice instead of the d20s. It should be the one above that.
Task roll. What is
Uh,
task roll?
Task roll, that'll be it. So task roll 2.
2.
Again, this is difficulty 0 for this scan because you have your tricorder with you. 3. Okay, you're maxed out 6 momentum now, and again, momentum's going to start disappearing when the scenes switch. But I'm considering this all like the opening scene anyhow. You're scanning and you start looking at the readings, and like you're healthy, everything's checking out. There's no, you see no problems with your physical self. And just as the turbolift gets to the bridge, something about the reading, like some very small percentage, some very small thing catches your eye as being off, but then your attention is broken as the turbolift doors pop open and you're standing there on the bridge stepping out, and Commander or Captain Henderson and Lieutenant Commander Drake are standing at their consoles, and they regard you as you step into the bridge. Captain Henderson is standing up to greet you as you get there. Like, oh, thank you, Commander. Thank you for coming as quickly as possible. I'm getting a communication from Starfleet Medical, and they're asking to speak to you personally. So, if you will join me in my ready room.
Of course.
Drake, when you see Thadasia step out on the bridge again, something weird comes over you, as if you know he's the chief medical officer. That's not strange, but why does it feel odd seeing him there? And you feel like calling him lieutenant, just like you felt like you should be a lieutenant as well. But he and yourself are both being referred to as commanders.
I'm just going to stare at him for a little bit and just try and remember like how I got to where I am now.
Okay. You start thinking about that, and your attention gets broken. And also, Thadasia, when you see Commander Drake, who is Lieutenant Commander, of course, but he's the second in command. He's the first officer of the USS Zimmerman for a couple years now in the war. But something feels wrong about this, and you just feel like you're more and more confused the longer you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm going to briefly turn aside and Commander, just give him a small kind of nod, knowing, sort of a knowing nod, but not exactly knowing why. Just a Commander. I'm not sure if that somewhat feels strange, but saying this to myself, I'm saying this, of course, in my mind.
Yeah.
Commander, and I'm gonna go continue on my way.
Okay. We didn't build the set for the ready room, so you're just going to be standing in the door where the ready room is because budget constraints. So you are both inside the captain's ready room. As the captain goes over to his personal console, he looks back. Is everything okay, Commander? There seems to be a lot of tension these days, not just with the war, but there seems to be something bigger going on. And now Starfleet Medical calling you directly. Is there something happening that I'm unaware of? Is there another one of these top secret things that's being kept from me by all of you Starfleet big shots?
As far as I know, Captain, everything seems fairly normal. I think it's just all, as you said, tension. I think the crew and perhaps the fleet as a whole needs a collective shore leave, given our last few weeks.
I think we could use some shore leave after the past few years. I'm worried about what's happening, Commander. The direction of the war, it seems to be going in our favor, but at the same time, nothing about this feels right.
I agree. There is something off about this. Can't quite put my finger on it, but like I said, it could be nothing more than our collective stress and a need for rest.
Oh, let's
And
hope.
as always, Captain, I will keep you informed of anything that might seem strange or abnormal.
Please, please do. And again, I know you are one of the most famous officers in Starfleet Medical these days, and it's an honor to have you here. But I have to tell you, if you are keeping secrets from me, and it's putting my ship in danger, that's something I'm not going to overlook, Commander.
Understood.
And he turns on his personal computer, and then he excuses himself to allow you to have communication with Starfleet Medical. So you go and sit down at his desk, and you see the signal pending, waiting for you to connect.
Okay, let's sit down. Just and tap the computer.
Okay, you tap the computer, and then you see the image of a Vulcan woman appear on screen. She's dressed in, of course, medical blue. I think you can see her there. Can you see everyone see her there? I don't know if OBS is updating or not. Okay, so she appears on the screen, and you see the captain rank, and you know you recognize her. You know you recognize her, and you know you've worked with her. But again, your head starts swimming again. You start thinking like you want to say the wrong thing, but you try to pull yourself together, and she greets you with a very emotionless expression, as you would expect from a Vulcan. Says, "Commander, I am pleased to see you are healthy."
Thank you, and same to you. May I ask what the nature of this communication is about?
Yes, indeed, and this is highly classified, so of course treat this with the utmost discretion.
Okay.
You have great experience serving aboard the USS Bellerophon in the Shackleton Expanse, and your exploits, as we have discussed on numerous occasions, are well known. You are quite possibly one of the most knowledgeable Starfleet officers about all of the phenomena that has occurred in the Shackleton Expanse. So I am hoping that you could use your expertise to perhaps shed some light on a troubling situation that is occurring.
What seems to be the problem?
There are reports coming in from the far reaches of the Romulan Empire, the Klingon Empire, and indeed Starfleet's furthest outpost of quite unexpected appearances by the Borg in the Shackleton Expanse.
Well, that is quite alarming. What is Starfleet's official move on this?
Well, more so than being alarming, Commander, is the fact that they appear to be assimilating entire worlds instantaneously.
Well, that does seem to be par for the course for Borg.
Par for the course, but I mean they are not engaging in any of the typical assimilation procedures if our data is to be taken as fact. It appears that just their arrival heralds an entire world's assimilation, complete and total, with zero resistance.
So what you're saying is they just show up and everyone is assimilated?
Indeed, and in some reports, the assimilation occurs before the vessels arrive.
How fast is this moving?
Alarmingly so, Commander. Unfortunately, with so little presence in the Shackleton Expanse, we cannot state for certain exactly how widespread this is, and I was wondering if you have encountered anything on your exploits that might explain how they are able to do something like this.
As far as I know of, no. I mean, this is something new to us. Some news like this would be definitely reported to Starfleet.
What is also of interest, and I don't know if it is, again, to be taken at 100% fact, the Borg seem to be halting their progress at the borders of Federation space.
Interesting. No incursions.
No incursions directly. It is almost as if they are fortifying their perimeter. Not just their perimeter, but our perimeter as the Federation.
What have the Klingons and Romulan governments response to this?
For now, the usual denial and possibly lies from the Romulan side. It's hard to say exactly what they are experiencing, but I believe the Klingon pride may be preventing them from saying how bad it is for them, and the Romulans would not want to show their own weakness.
Well, this is quite quite alarming. Is there what can I do about this?
First of all, as you are at one of the farthest reaches from this area, the Shackleton Expanse, if there is an issue, perhaps you have the most time to figure it out. If they do make an incursion on Federation space, you might be in one of the final territories that they reach. So I am going to transmit all of the data we have, including some unusual radiation anomalies that have been detected in the area as well. I would appreciate greatly if you could investigate exactly what this might all mean and how we might be able to prevent ourselves from becoming assimilated by this new method they are using.
Understood. However, given that this is a secure channel and top priority, I'm assuming I must inform my captain about this if we are going to make any significant move.
That has been approved.
Thank you.
If you require anything more, please feel free to contact myself as soon as possible, and my assistant Rommel would also help you.
Rommel. Okay, understood.
Good luck, Commander, and please get back to me as soon as you discover anything that may help us.
I will.
She nods. Savek out, and the screen turns off.
Okay. Well, I'm going to Chief Medical Officer to Captain Henderson.
Captain here.
With you, sir. May I speak with you, private, sir?
On my way. And Captain Henderson re-enters into the room. Possibly, if I could control him. Yeah. What is it, Commander? Good news, I hope.
Anything but. I've just received some very disturbing news from Starfleet Medical. I'm going to put the information on the main view screen there.
Okay.
Or you pull it up. According to Starfleet's records, the Borg have been making significant and sudden incursions throughout space, including the Romulan and Klingon Empire. apparently they have this ability to just appear and fully assimilate worlds without any type of resistance or forewarning. Furthermore, they appear to be possibly fortifying their forces around Federation borders. They haven't struck, they haven't contacted us, or made any incursions into our borders or spaces, but it is significantly disturbing, to say the least. We've been given orders to investigate these disturbances, as well as some further mission orders here, which I will pull up. And as your chief medical officer, I have said that I would report anything significant to you. This is something that you might want to know.
He's nodding as he reads over the information on the screen. The lines in his face seem to get deeper and deeper the more he reads down. Says, well, when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? All right, let's assemble the senior staff, and we might as well get the Klingons in on this too. We're going to need all the help we can get.
Understood.
And we are approaching our 3 o'clock break, so 10-minute break time. Let's stop there. When we come back, we are going to pick up on the USS Voyager before jumping back to the Klingon combined area with the Zimmerman. How's that?
Sounds great.
All right, 10-minute break. Let's just, just come back when you're ready and we'll chat. Okay, see you soon. Commercial break. Whee! Whee, whee. Go. Okay, we are back from the commercial break, and as promised, we are back on the USS Voyager. Again, Lieutenant James and Lieutenant Weber, you're standing there. The doors to the cargo bay open. Two figures in decidedly non-Starfleet uniforms come walking in. One woman in a silver catsuit, and one young man from a species you are not familiar with in a very awesome sweater. And they are both pointing phasers at you. And pretty easy to notice just glancing at them as they come in. They appear to have some remnants of Borg augmentation on their faces and other parts of their exposed flesh.
All right. Well, I slowly raise my hands and sort of do a side glance at Weber and go, well, I guess that explains the alcoves.
I guess so. I raise my hands as well.
I repeat, the woman says, identify yourselves.
Who goes first?
You could rock, scissors, paper for it.
Lieutenant James.
My name is Lieutenant Weber.
Who are you? And where's the crew?
How did you get aboard our vessel?
That's what we started to try to find out.
That is a very good question.
She looks still very, very intently at the both of you, but you can notice her posture easing a bit. Phasers are still pointed at you. You are dressed...
Just a quick...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just a quick question.
Yes.
We would not be carrying phasers ourselves, would we?
No.
Because that's not standard issue around the ship.
No, not when you're just walking around the ship, no.
Yep.
She says to you, you are dressed in current Starfleet uniforms.
Yeah. I slowly point to the pips and go, I did say I was a lieutenant.
The young man, without taking his eyes off you, he nervously glances at her almost, or uncertainly glances at her, I should say. Our scans only showed one life form in here, 7. And then she becomes a little more suspicious.
I turn to Weber and go, well, that'll be the one human we found.
She looks at the both of you. I do not understand how you arrived here. Were you sent from Starfleet in the Alpha Quadrant?
How much of memory do I have of Darwin?
You remember all of it.
Okay.
You too, Weber. From when you were actually there and not in a different realm of existence.
Moments ago, we were in the Shackleton Expanse somewhere. Aboard the DeGrasse Tyson. And then we're here.
Explain.
I would really, really love to, but I have no idea.
She looks
You
at
have a
I remember-
tricorder.
She looks at Weber as well, hoping for more elaboration.
All I remember is a bright light in my chamber on board our ship, and a person pulling me into that light. And next I woke up here. But as I understand, Lieutenant James did not see that person. So she came some other way.
Do you have a tricorder?
She does, and she very readily pulls it out and begins scanning the both of you.
Scan me.
She scans and quickly
I'd still hold my hands up.
looks up at you. Says, "You are a hologram."
Yes.
And you,
Yes, I am.
she looks over at Weber, you appear to be a Bajoran.
That would be correct.
We detected a high concentration of Verteron particles coming from this cargo bay, and then we detected unauthorized access of our computer terminal.
Sorry about that. That was me. We didn't know where we were.
It would appear, she looks back to the tricorder, both of you are highly saturated with Verteron particles. And you, she looks at Weber, there's an unusual amount of neutrino residual traces coming from you as well.
Can Weber make anything of that?
You could do insight and science.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be, I would say, difficulty of 2 for this. Also, you're down to 5 momentum now because we're in a different scene. We're the post-commercial break scene.
Would any of my focuses?
Let me look at your focuses. I don't recall what they are. They're right in front of me, and I always lose your sheet every time it's time to look at
I mean,
it.
photonic application sounds something like that, but that was for hologram programming mostly.
Yeah. Nothing here would specifically help you with the with this particular role. None of those focuses there.
Hurtful truth is better than ignorance. It's one of my values.
Yeah, you could use
How
that.
dire the situation is.
Yeah, you could if you would like to use that. I think that could actually fit in this situation. Use your
Okay.
determination. Okay, that will get you automatically 2 successes right there, and then you could roll your 2 dice, and anything extra becomes momentum. Is it going to update on OBS for me, or do I have to manually do? Oh, it did. It did indeed. Did you? Wait a sec. I think you might have your what's it called? Complication range on 2 because it's showing the 19 as a complication as well.
Yeah.
This says you rolled 2 complications, but you actually rolled 1 complication. So we will stick with that. But you got your 2 successes, no extra thing. Just thinking back to it with Verteron particles, as you know, that's what you've been detecting, and that's usually something that you get from wormholes. And the neutrinos, just digging deep into your scientific knowledge, and also the fact that you are Bajoran, combining the two together, Verteron particles and neutrinos, you know there's been a lot of the old reports of neutrinos, a high concentration of neutrinos detected when a Bajoran orb was discovered in the past. So the combination of these two together, Verterons from a wormhole and neutrinos, are something similar. I don't know if I would say a telltale sign, but something that strikes you, especially as Bajoran, as something indicating something by the prophets meddling or them reaching out into the physical world. That's what you get from that. And you also got a complication on that. So I'm just going to take that as 2 more threat for right now. And I'll bring up the complication later if you don't mind.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mentioned that to the others and add that I was studying religious practices in my shrine from a scientific standpoint. And yeah, I guess it was kind of a success.
The two look at each other. So you believe your gods sent you here?
I wouldn't call them gods, of course, because I am basically an atheist, but whatever our mythology would call gods might have been what I encountered. Didn't expect them to send me here, though.
Well, the neutrino readings are coming from inside you. It would appear that whatever these prophets or these aliens in your wormhole are, they have did something with your own physical form.
Just on physical form. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but well, there's no one nice way to say this, really, but you both got lovely implants there. And this ship seems to be light on a crew.
Yes, we are former Borg, and as for the crew, that's a very complicated situation.
Huh.
What happened to the rest of the crew?
Getting very used to complicated right now.
The woman, she looks at the young man and then she holsters her phaser. He seems more hesitant, but a moment later he puts his away as well.
I slowly lower my hands.
She pulls it back out again. No. Our crew, unfortunately, well, I should say the majority of our crew disappeared unexpectedly one day.
Long ago?
It was approximately 13 days ago. There's been an unexpected increase in Borg activity in this sector, and we have been trying to avoid detection. And then, without warning, there was a surge of radiation, and everyone, save for a few, vanished.
I turned to Weber and That can't be a coincidence.
No, can't.
I don't know what you would call it of what we were in. Some sort of area in subspace. We never had much time to do much in the way of scans. But we were looking for a ship, a Federation ship. And funnily enough, we found it, but they had been assimilated. But due to the nature of where we were, they were no longer connected to the Borg. And seemed to be independent people again, though connected to each other. We made it to the center of whatever it was, and the crew of the Darwin went to I was mostly in engineering, so but they went to a creature we believed that was trapped in some sort of bright light, and then we were here.
The woman looks at you and says, "Your story does not make any logical sense."
You're telling me.
She looks at Weber. "Do you know anything more you could add to this?"
Nothing that I remember. No. I think we were trying to get in touch with that being. But yeah, no, I don't remember much more.
It was some sort of being that was being imprisoned in this subspace. So
we were
believed it was a...
One more time, please.
It was
I think we were warned to not contact this being. But yeah, I could be wrong.
We believed it was a being of power. Much more than that, we don't know.
We should report this to the captain. And almost on cue, there's a chime, and a voice comes on the speaker. It says, "Seven, would you report what is going on down there in the cargo bay? I haven't heard anything. Are there intruders or not?" She chimes her badge. Says, "Yes, there are intruders, and I will bring them to you, but I don't think they are anything we have to worry about. They have quite a story to share, and perhaps they are the key to figuring out what has happened with our own crew." And I'm going to stop the scene there for a moment, if you don't mind. You could think about that. I just want to take a moment to say I'm loving Locke in his new look that popped up midway through. I didn't want to interrupt the scene, but yeah, I'm digging that.
Sorry, I hope I wasn't too distracting.
No, that was awesome. I'm glad
scene.
you're giving David a run for his money of changing up the images on the fly here. So hang on one second. Let us resume to here. We're just going to go on the exterior for now, but it is back to the scene of the USS Zimmerman and the Kier. You are in the Denorios belt in one of the plasma pockets. You have rendezvoused, as you often do, your kind of staging point during the war is at this point here around the ruins of Deep Space Nine, as it drifts lifelessly through the Bajor system. Captain Henderson has contacted the Kir-A and asked Commander Locke to come aboard.
The communication's open now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'll be there at my leisure.
Of course. Henderson out. Okay, and so how long is your leisure, Commander? Now that you do that, I'll let you set the pace for when you go over.
Just as long as it takes for the image to finish uploading to Roll20.
There you go. But also, Commander Locke, as you are making your way to possibly the transporter room, possibly not, depending on what you're doing, I will say that things are just feeling weird for you yet again, that you know things are wrong. You know, like you feel like you have this whole fictional life, the whole fictional life's worth of memories stuck in your head. And every time you hear the captain's voice, the Federation, the Starfleet captain's voice, you feel like he was your captain. You feel like you did serve with him in the past. But that's impossible because, I mean, your mother, of course, she was a former Starfleet officer, but you yourself, you never worked with Starfleet. You had no intention of doing it. But at the same time, you feel like you were serving on that ship with him for quite a while. And I don't know if you're done uploading, so I'm just leaving it to you.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
So I'm considering this as I make my way to the teleporter, and and I head when I arrive, I simply look at the crew member that's there and give him the look that says, if you don't do this fast enough and I have to say one word, then he will not be in that position for much longer.
He gets the message directly without a single word being said, and he engages.
And as he's engaging, I think to myself that it's, for some reason, it feels weird to have engaged with my crew in that way.
And you also have this strange sensation that you diffused tension before with a hugging session. Okay, let's move the scene into, again, we're 100% 90s Star Trek right here. We are reusing a set. So here we go. We are hopefully in the conference room on the Zimmerman. Do you have a good image for Locke to appear? I see him. Are you going to throw him in there, or should I?
I think that my whole profile should have updated.
Yeah, I see it. And there he is. Hey, look at that guy. Hang on a second. He's larger than life. There he goes. He's a big guy coming in there. All right. So, Commander Locke, you have transported over to the USS Zimmerman, and it's your first time. You've worked with them as part of the task force for a long time, as the one still keeping tabs on the wormhole at this stage in the war. But you've never been aboard the ship before. However, when you got on board, it was almost second nature to you, that you felt like you knew the layout like the back of your hand, and you easily made your way to the turbolift with the security officer escorting you, trying to keep up. He's jogging behind you, but you knew exactly where you were going. And you even got the one that led directly to the conference room. You're still not sure how.
I think to myself that these Starfleet ships are terribly designed if someone who's never been aboard one could so easily find their way around. Must be incredibly easy to board.
And as you arrive into the conference room, you see Captain Henderson sitting at the table. He stands to greet you, as does his first officer, Lieutenant Commander Drake, and the Andorian Chief Medical Officer, Commander Thadagia.
I appreciate your having me on your ship. It's a fine vessel, if easy to navigate.
Also, Drake and Thadagia, as soon as he steps in on the ship, you think the first thought comes to you that he's out of uniform. He should be in the Starfleet uniform.
Yet again, I'm gonna give him a strange look, you know. Welcome.
Locke, you see him regarding you curiously, but you kind of get the same feeling when you look at him. Like, you understand why he's trying to non-verbally communicate to you with his look. You kind of understand, but you're not sure what it means.
Yeah, I am somewhat confused, and with that I look around the room, and when I see Drake, I say, "Oh, Lieutenant Drake, congratulations on the promotion."
Drake, you haven't been a lieutenant for quite a while, and you think you were promoted probably even before you were assigned to work with the Kira, but it makes sense for him to say that to you.
And to which I say, "Thank you, Commander. Captain."
Part of my internal response is to reach out and hit him for the slip of calling me not anything besides captain. And the other part of me feels that there was no mistake at all. I do not move to hit him, just to be clear.
Okay.
Gosh.
Okay, Captain Henderson seems to be growing more and more confused with how awkwardly everyone is behaving as soon as the Klingon walks in. But he does invite you to sit down, and he also resumes his seat, and he will proceed to explain all the information that Thadagia had shared with him recently, that there was strange radiation, Borg appearing at the borders of Klingon and Romulan and Federation space. The Borg seem to be fortifying the borders of the Federation space without moving inward. And there's reports of worlds instantaneously becoming assimilated deep in the Shackleton Expanse. Also, of course, Thadagia and Drake, as you are both the high-ranking officers in here, you're free to chime in with any information you want and engage with the guest as you normally would. Captain Anderson asks you, "So, Captain, is there anything from the Klingon Empire about this that you might be able to share with us?"
We have not received any reports that we've not already communicated to you.
Of course. So, could this be another invasion by the Borg, or could this be something that relates to the ongoing war with the Dominion? Any ideas?
The Borg are a very predictable enemy. They spread as quickly as they possibly can in all directions. They're an easy enemy to fight so long as you have the will and power of the Klingon fleet.
Yes, if only we had that kind of power right now, but the war is diminishing all our resources, and I think that as a warrior such as yourself, you could even acknowledge spreading ourselves too thin would be a very bad idea right now.
It certainly could increase our chances of dying the glorious warrior's death.
There is that.
However, there is much to be said for living to fight another battle, so I believe your counsel is wise that we should avoid, as you say, spreading ourselves thin.
I'm also curious about the strange radiation readings that they have been detected, or the strange energy bursts that were detected along with the Borg. Commander Thadagia, any information, any insight as to what that may be? Have you been able to start your research yet?
So far, I haven't come to any conclusions yet. The information is still scant at this point.
And nothing about this from your experience in the Shackleton Expanse rings a bell to you. Also, when he says Shackleton Expanse, Lulk, and also Drake too, and of course Thadagia, it triggers something in you. You've never been assigned to the Shackleton Expanse, but you feel like you know it very well. And those memories start, like, one by one coming back to you.
I'm suddenly very confused by the uniform that I'm wearing.
Keep playing around with it. You were going to say something, Thadagia?
Sorry, no, I'm sorry, sir. I don't believe so. Though it sounds very familiar. I can't exactly place my finger on it yet. I'll have to review my own logs just to make certain.
Please do. We need to see if this is anything we need to be worried about, even this far on the fringes of Federation space. Commander Drake, any thoughts that you may have about this situation?
During most of this conversation, I've been staring at Lulk every now and then, especially when he was talking about dying a warrior's death, feeling that just felt wrong. But like when the captain addresses me, I kind of snap back to attention to him and no, Commander, Captain, that was genuine mistake, actually. That was out of player mistake. No, Captain, given how quickly the Borg seem to be able to assimilate these planets, especially from a distance, I think looking into improving or changing our shields may be a point of call to ensure they can't get into our ship without us realizing.
He nods in agreement.
Though an idea did strike me that possibly these radiation surges may be a precursor to perhaps dampening or disengaging any sort of protective or defensive shielding, allowing them to essentially assimilate without any resistance so quickly.
I'll have engineering look into the effects of this radiation on our shields as they stand and try to come up with a countermeasure for this, as well as keep scans to detect if we see any nearby.
There's an incoming communication from the bridge. One of the officers there contacts into the room. Commander Drake. I almost forgot your name
Drake,
for a second. Yeah. Commander Drake, We're detecting something on long-range sensors, sir. Can you please come to the bridge?
I'll be there in a moment. Excuse me, everyone. I'll be back shortly.
Okay, Captain nods and lets you go on your way. You head out to the bridge and you go to your tactical console and you see that there is usually trying to be stealthy, but in this case, no stealth at all. There is a small Cardassian shuttle on an intercept course exactly for this rendezvous point here that you and the Kir use exclusively. And they appear to be traveling and transmitting in a way that wants their presence to be known.
Am I expecting somebody?
No, not at all.
Okay. Then I'm guessing I know there's a lieutenant or someone on comms. Crap, what's it called?
Communications? Hail?
Hail, that's it. Hail them. Thank you. My brain stopped from yeah. Lieutenant, hail that ship.
Okay, the lieutenant opens hail, and I'm just bad with names today. Krell, are you there, sir?
Well, here. Yep.
On your shuttle, you are approaching the rendezvous point, and you are doing just as you were instructed, making your profile large enough so you would be detected as soon as possible. And just as expected, you get an opening transmission coming in from the Federation vessel that is there.
On screen.
On screen, you see a pretty young human male sitting standing, I should say, at the command console of a Federation starship.
I'm Krell of the Obsidian Order. I have the prisoner transfer as requested.
Okay. Can I see the prisoner? As in, just as a general.
Yeah, you see the a young human man sitting next to him, and let me put that on screen for you both. Still getting used to that. Where is? Don't be fooled by Krell still wearing his Federation uniform. He's not. Just looks that way. And let's see here, human male. Where is this guy? Hang on a second. Give me 1 second, because roll 20. You know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a dime for every time roll 20 messed me up.
Other than our regular timeline knowledge, we know in this version of us, the Federation, the Klingons and the Cardassians are enemies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I sense recognition.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so he's sitting side by side. The young man has a pretty relaxed look on his face, but you instantly notice the outdated uniform.
Okay, well, understood, Krell. We'll send over coordinates. Hold your position there. Commander Drake out. To which I'll get the hail closed and turn to everyone else in the room. Go, anybody else know that he was supposed to be here?
Everyone shrugs, looks back and forth to each other.
Cool.
What is the Cardassians' thought on the Klingon ship being here? Were we expecting that?
Yes, and you know that your father told you that there was the commander of the vessel called Lulk that should be present for these discussions, negotiations, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. While that's happening, I tell the comms officer to contact the Klingon ship and tell them to not destroy the Cardassian ship, as they're holding what appears to be a human prisoner, and we'll get back to them shortly with the captain's orders. To which I'll head off to the meeting room and find out if Lulk knew that this was happening.
Okay. So going back into the meeting room, I guess, yeah, step back inside and go ahead. Let's swap to that scene if I could find I just keep rotating it. Yeah, you're back in the meeting room. Go ahead, do your thing.
Captain, Captain Lulk, there appears to be a Cardassian ship holding a human prisoner here for a negotiations or prisoner transfer. Were we aware of this?
Captain shakes his head like, what prisoner?
Appears to be a
As
young
he-
human. Well,
Sorry, as he says, "What prisoner?" I also respond at the same time and say, "We were not made aware of this," and then kind of stop myself and question why I responded to him
Yeah. Good.
as if he were. I automatically assume he was addressing me, and then I'm very confused. I mean, not outwardly confused, but internally.
But also, Thadagia, you start getting confused why Captain Henderson answered instead of Locke. You thought that wasn't nice. He's talking over the captain. Then you're like, oh no, wait, he is the captain.
I'm staring between both of them, wondering who I should be addressing at this moment, and eventually decide on Henderson as he appears to be closer and seems to be the maybe the right choice. He seems to have a young human male aboard and is with the Obsidian Order, expecting us to be here, and he didn't seem surprised by the Klingon ship either. I've contacted your ship, Captain Lulk, to not, destroy the Cardassian ship for the time being, but we may need to determine what's happening here.
So, Captain Locke,
Very good.
you are you talk over again. You are unaware of this as well.
We've had no word of this.
And it's a human.
Yes, Captain. Appears to be.
Could this
In
be
an
a trap?
old Starfleet uniform.
So he might be a prisoner for a number of years.
He's very young to have been a prisoner for a number of years.
It's even more unusual.
They weren't exactly hiding their presence. They basically came in with the bells going to let us know that they were there and seemed to be expecting us.
This day just won't stop, will it?
No, sir. Again, that feels weird. I feel like I should be saying no, ma'am, but that would be obviously rude. How would you like me to proceed, Captain?
And they want to return the prisoner? Are they armed?
It seemed to be just the one transport ship with the one Cardassian and human prisoner aboard. So not much to worry about.
Okay, very well. Then why don't we bring him aboard, check them out, and see what we can find out?
Yes, sir. I'll get on that now. Again, I look over at Locke like I should be expecting some orders from him, but nothing comes, so I head out.
Commander Thadagia, I want you to check both the prisoner and the Cardassian when they come aboard and see if there's anything unusual.
Of course, sir.
And Captain Locke, I would be very grateful if you would stay along and help us interrogate our new guests.
But of course, Captain. And I stop myself before I tell him that I will go change back into standard uniform out of my Klingon armor. And I'm not quite sure why I thought that.
You do have this vague sensation that he has scolded you before about wearing your Klingon armor while you were on duty. Okay, let's go to... How about this? Well, you know what? Why don't we just end the scene? Not end the scene here real quick. I want to bring Krell over, so we're just going to speed up and have him escorted to the conference room. That's where they're going to hold this thing. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Everybody likes conference rooms, right? We're all good friends.
While you're doing that, Krell's gonna kind of search his memory as well. And does he remember what he's supposed to get in return here?
No, you were just supposed to be there and part of the negotiations.
Okay.
So
Don't even
it's
know what we're
very
negotiating for.
exactly. It's very, very vague for you. You have no clue exactly what they want, and I'm just going to keep speaking like this until I find Krell's image again because I lost you. Okay, and then okay, put you in there, and security comes in. They escort a now unarmed Krell. You were forced to leave your sidearm behind. I hope you don't mind.
I think he'll go along with it.
It makes sense because when you get on the ship, you feel like, yeah, of course, we're not allowed to wear our phasers on duty. And then you thought, wait, I don't carry phaser. I use my Cardassian disruptor, not a phaser. And so the more and more confusing things are spilling into your mind again. As you're escorted there, I can't find. Oh my goodness, where did I put him? Okay, he's coming. He's coming. It's a grand entrance with the human boy who comes in as well, dressed in Starfleet uniform with no pips on his collar. And when Krell comes in, the three of you from the DeGrasse Tyson, Lulk, Drake, and Thadasia, you recognize him instantly, even though you've never seen him before in your life, and you know his name is Krell. It just comes to you before he can even have a chance to introduce himself. And Captain Henderson introduces himself and does ask the Cardassian to do the same.
I'm Krell of the Obsidian Order. And he kind of looks over and he does like a double take because he feels like he recognizes 3 of these Starfleet officers as well. Gentlemen, have we met before?
Luke.
It is a good question.
Again, yeah.
You wouldn't happen to have any, well, relatives?
I have a mother and a father, obviously.
Relative. Excuse me. Relatives in Starfleet.
No,
As strange as that question.
my mother was a marquee terrorist. She no longer exists. My father is Gul Krell of the Obsidian Order.
Just kind of stare at him, wondering why I think he should be a lieutenant and not in the Obsidian Order.
Captain Henderson asks Thadasia, and he also asks Krell, would you mind if my doctor performs some scans on the two of you to make sure you are healthy and not carrying anything transmissible?
Yes, but only the doctor may approach at this moment.
He nods to Thadasia.
All right, so I'm good to go. Approach him and perform a scan.
Okay, you scan, and they both seem to be perfectly healthy. They both seem to be. The human boy, especially, seems to have absolutely nothing wrong with him. He might be one of the most healthy specimens that you've ever scanned in your entire life. As for the Cardassian, when you scan him, again, no readings that suggest anything untoward, but you notice again a very slight spike in one of the little radiation levels in the scan, and that makes you remember you saw that same spike in yourself earlier when you were in the turbolift.
Well, other than a small variance, perhaps nothing too important. Both of you appear to be in tip-top shape.
Krell nods. And he looks over at the captain. I guess, and he's like, This boy is one of your officers, I assume, Captain?
He looks at the boy. He looks over at Drake to see if there's any acknowledgement.
Drake kind of looks back and goes,
We've received no word of a prisoner transfer, and we don't have any records of anyone as young as he being missing. We don't even have a name. You didn't provide us with any name. The boy smiles when he says that.
And Krell, he kind of looks visibly confused again because he's trying to remember what this boy's name is and try to remember why he brought him here. And I guess he kind of looks over at Lieutenant Drake and he's like, Drake, why did I bring this boy here?
I'm completely nonchalant about him using my name.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I've introduced myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Krell. Why did you? Again, very friendly manner.
And then he starts, he's like shakes it off and he's like, let's get down to business, gentlemen. What about you, Klingon? What interest do you have in this boy?
I'm still kind of taken aback by the interaction between Drake and Krell when I snap to and ignore Krell and turn my head sharply towards Drake and say, what is the meaning of this?
I turn and look at Lol.
Friends with this Cardassian.
Which I, again, feel a bit confused as to why Locke is asking such a question when he knows Krell as well. But then also remembering this is the first time that I've met him. And then, again, staring at Locke going, no, this is the first time we've met. Again, and turning and looking at Krell again, and then looking back at Locke.
Thadagia, you're seeing this all play out too, but you know you've met Krell before too, even though you haven't. So now that you're seeing Drake is responding the exact same way, things are getting a little more suspicious for you.
While we're standing here in this room, the conversation's going on. I'm just going to kind of circle around the room, running a scan on pretty much everyone who's here, see if anything lines up.
Okay, so while they're having this back and forth, Thadagia just casually walking by everyone, listening to the bickering, scanning. Thadagia, you notice that same very unusual, just very small radiation spike coming from Locke, Drake, yourself, and Krell. Nothing from Captain Henderson, and again, just the most perfect bill of health for the young boy. Oh, and I should say the whole time you're doing that too, the boy is watching you with a grin and just enjoying seeing you do your work.
I'm just gonna nod at him, giving me a curious kind of look. Captain, if I speak, I've been running some scans here for a few hours. I've noticed some variances, well, actually, similar variances with both Drake, Krell, and Bulk, as well as myself. Well, it appears to be a radiation spike, as of yet undetermined in its origin or cause. I'd like to look into this further, perhaps, and have him come down to sick bay when this discussion is finished.
Of course, Lieutenant, have it done.
Captain Henderson looks at you, Locke, and like, if I may, Captain.
Captain, yes. I apologize.
Something unusual is certainly happening here. gentlemen, and I would like to know what it is. And we still have yet to hear from this prisoner transfer. We don't know who this boy is. Can we please get that information? He looks at the Cardassian. He looks at the young boy. The boy looks at you, Crown, like, am I allowed to speak now? Guard?
Quit your smiling and speak, boy.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'd like to thank you all for welcoming me here today. It's my first time here in the Alpha Quadrant in quite a number of centuries. I'm afraid this time it's not for pleasure, but for business. I have not had the honor of meeting anyone from Starfleet in this quadrant. However, I do have quite a nice family, or I will. Or I might, or maybe I don't anymore. Who knows? But I know you are familiar with my father. But allow me to introduce myself. My name is Q.
Pearl raises an eyebrow.
Well, Q, you say. I'm going to just jog my memory from my studies, our standard Starfleet research. You don't appear to be Q as far as what we're familiar with. Are you the Q of the Enterprise? So, well, the card's Q.
Oh, no, that would be my father.
It's both surprising and unsurprising that such entities might have children.
Yes, and my mother was almost the famous captain of the USS Voyager, Janeway, but unfortunately she turned down my father's advances. She is my godmother, though.
Must take an incredibly strong woman to turn down the advances of such a all-encompassing, powerful being, such as a Q.
You have no idea how stubborn that my godmother can be, and I might not know myself if we don't get down to business. I'm sorry, it's just my first time doing this for quite a while. However, things are very urgent for us here, and I promised my father I would do my best before he was ultimately destroyed. However, the entire universe might be annihilated within the next few days. So if everyone would be willing to sit down and listen to me, maybe we could stop this?
A
Drake's already
reasonable
sat.
enough request.
Yeah, Krell's a little bewildered as well, but he nods.
I'm going to look to, unconsciously, look to Vulcan. Captain, I'm going to look to him instead. Captain, we are familiar with the Q and their traits for trickery, betrayal. I would be suspicious of this.
Krell kind of speaks up as well when he hears him talking about this. He's like, yeah, I do remember hearing about Q from the Academy. And then he kind of looks at himself. He's like, wait, what?
We all stare at Krell.
Q speaks up. Don't worry, don't worry. I know you're all confused. That's because most of you are not living the lives you're supposed to be living. You are what's called an anchor. And it's going to take some time to explain it to minds as limited as yours, but I've grown a bit accustomed to coffee thanks to my godmother. So if you wouldn't mind bringing a pot here, we could get down to business. And with that, I'm going to move the scene, but you could have a last moment here. So just letting you know before you carry it any further, we're moving on the scene after here. So any final things, okay?
I guess I'll make the coffee.
Okay, no one else? Okay, I just didn't want you jumping into something that would be too big before the scene switched. Everyone good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going back to the USS Voyager, if that's okay. Voyager people, are you ready?
Yes,
Yep.
I am.
All right. So, back on the Voyager, you are led into the turbolift, no longer being treated as intruders. Well, you are intruders, but no longer being treated as a threat as you're taken onto into the turbolift, and you come upon the bridge. Which, as soon as you exit the bridge, you notice it is very empty. There's only one other person standing on the bridge. It's the clearly the captain of the ship, but you both recognize the captain immediately.
Oh,
By the way, the entire way to the bridge, Lieutenant James is like whispering to Weber, probably boring the heck out of him with things like, "Oh, this ship has like bioneural circuitry and all this sort of stuff." Like, having grown up on Utopia Planitia, she's like, she knows this ship inside and out, and it's like, "Oh, this is so cool." Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, she was fangirling the whole way up there.
Yeah.
Seven was just side-eyeing her friend as you're riding up. But you step out bridge and you see the familiar face of the emergency medical hologram, that standard issue on a lot of the ships from the era. However, it's in command red and it's sporting 4 pips on its collar.
yeah, you didn't say the captain's voice was female.
It was not, no.
Yeah. Okay.
The captain looks at you as all 4 of you step out of the turbolift and says, "Starfleet, I recognize those uniforms. Have you come to rescue us?"
To be honest, we have no idea why we've come here.
What is that supposed to mean?
It's a long story. We were in the Shackleton Expanse. Then we were here.
The Shackleton Expanse? That's in the Beta Quadrant. Did you find a wormhole? There were Verteron particles. We had a spike in Verteron particles. Perhaps you found a wormhole that would lead us back to the Beta Quadrant and away from the Borg?
I wish it was that simple.
Why isn't it?
Because it never is. Right. Long story short, we found Borg and a very powerful being. The Borg were Starfleet. We think the Borg may have assimilated the powerful being. Then we're here.
Okay, well, that doesn't help us at all. And you
No.
have no idea what happened to our crew.
No. Potentially something similar to us, maybe? I don't know.
Well, they were here one moment and they're gone now, and just like you were not here one moment and you're here now, so maybe it is related? He pulls out tricorder and he's going to start scanning you as you're continuing this.
I might warn you, you're going to find something interesting.
Oh, and what would be more interesting than random people magically appearing on my ship? And as he scans you, his eyebrow raises. You're a hologram.
Yes, I am.
I'm a hologram.
Yes, you are.
How? Where's your mobile emitter? And he taps the device on his shoulder. How are you?
My what?
How are you able? We don't have any. They're not fully installed on the bridge here, and they shouldn't be working. But you came through the turbolift, so how are you here without an emitter?
That too is a long story. We met a race of people who were holograms. They had managed to survive, shall we say, away from emitters for periods of time, needing to return to recharge themselves. I accidentally downloaded myself into a copy of one of those holograms.
Accidentally downloaded. Is this something that I could use? I might be able to use this and then I could be free. I don't have to have these constraints on here. The woman speaks up and says, Doctor, can we please get to business? We need to figure out what's happening and we could deal with your holographic fantasies later.
Yes, I would like to get down to finding out what the heck is going on. We were on the DeGrasse Tyson and now we're here.
We don't know what the DeGrasse Tyson is, or we have maybe some information about a vessel in our databanks, but we have not encountered DeGrasse Tyson. However, we did get readings of Verteron particles, and that's when the Borg woman she explains what she detected from Lieutenant Weber, and so the captain starts scanning you, Weber, and he says the same thing. How unusual it is that there are neutrino traces coming from your body. That doesn't seem to be normal.
Yeah, I explain again what I explained to Seven earlier about my experiments.
And you encountered someone. How did you know to find them?
Oh, I didn't. I kept getting these signals that I couldn't really make sense of. So I went down to the shrine where I conduct these experiments, and suddenly there was this light and some shadowy person saying that it's very urgent I come with them. And they basically pulled me into the light, and I woke up on the ship.
And did you detect
it's just
any
really,
wormhole?
really strange that it's whatever's happening works so well with my experiments. I'm wondering if I had not conducted these experiments, if I would have come here another way, or if I maybe even triggered this whatever happened here. So it would be a weird coincidence that I conduct these tests and then they work so well with whatever is happening.
I agree that it is very unusual. But I'm more curious about the Verteron particles, even more than the neutrinos. Could it be possible that you were sent here by a wormhole?
Well, I guess so.
Perhaps we need to run a scan and see if there might be any wormhole in the region we traveled through that might have dropped you off here, and in a case of maybe the most perfect timing in the history of the galaxy.
I've never heard of it.
I mean, wormholes are where the Bajoran, air quote, gods live. And if I actually saw one of these prophets, again, air quotes, yeah, that probably
and
makes sense.
Weber, I'm going to also, because you used your point of determination, you used your value earlier for the I'm looking at it right there. Hurtful truth is better than ignorance.
Yeah.
Some follow up to that, as you are mentioning about the Bajoran wormhole. It comes back to you that the last time you disappeared, when you were inside the whatever it was that made you disappear for a while before returning to the DeGrasse Tyson, you remember you were able to translate very little from this message that was slipping away from your mind at the time, but what you did translate led to coordinates in that equaled the entrance and exit of the Bajoran wormhole in the Alpha and Gamma quadrants, as well as a random point of space in the Delta quadrant.
Oh yeah. Then I mentioned that, of course.
Do you remember what these coordinates are?
Do I?
The one.
Well,
yeah, I guess you probably would.
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Well, could you share them with us? Go to a console.
Yes,
you are
absolutely.
Starfleet, please.
Yes.
And he points you to a console. Please, let's do a scan. Perhaps we'll find our crew, or perhaps we'll find a way back home before the Borg find us.
Yeah,
okay, you want to go over to the console? Okay. So you go there, and you could do a scan. You could do just a typical control and science. It's going to be difficulty of 1.
Science. No.
Okay. So your scan, it's.
Did it work? Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought it didn't work. Yeah. Okay.
It worked, but you also only roll 1 die. You need to roll 1 more. There you go. That's 2. You got it. Okay, so you start typing in the coordinates into the long-range sensors. You see it's actually not too distant from where the Voyager is positioned right now in the Delta Quadrant. As you're running the scans, you detect there are traces of high concentrations of verteron particles that might suggest a proto-wormhole.
I am looking over Weber's shoulder as he's doing all of this.
And you start seeing the data that he is seeing as well.
What does proto-wormhole mean?
It's like a not like the Bajoran wormhole. It would be like a not fully formed wormhole. So it has the composition that could become a wormhole, or it could just collapse in on itself. Okay. And yeah, James, you see that as well, as does the Borg woman looking over your shoulder.
Look at that.
There is something there. What is it?
Looks like a proto-wormhole. I really don't. I'm wondering, someone must have given me this information. I'm wondering why and who.
The doctor speaks up, or the emergency command hologram speaks up and says, I'm wondering the same thing, but I'm willing to risk it if it means we might be able to get ourselves home.
Yes, I agree.
Shall we set a
Sounds
course?
like
Sorry, James.
Let's go. There's a mystery to be solved.
Quickly, to the mystery machine. The ECH gets into the captain's chair. The young man takes the helm. The woman also takes the security console. And as for the two of you, I guess, Mabrin, you are...
Holding on to the... Can just stand there and hold on to this...
To the railing there. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to meander on over to the engineering console.
Okay.
And look things over.
The ECH looks around and says, it's almost starting to feel like we have a crew again. All right, but what we do have is mission.
Actually,
yes, sir.
I think I think I'll stay at the science station and just
Okay.
keep scanning and
that makes sense.
Changes.
There's plenty of open space on the bridge for you, so yeah, that's a good space for you to be. There you go. All right. The doctor raises his hand as if he's going to announce an engage signal when spending 4 threat. There's a little beeping on the console in front of you, Weber, something that your sensors are picking up since they are still activated from running your scan. You detect that there are multiple vessels approaching.
Wait, there are several ships approaching. How many?
From your scans, it looks like at least 5, possibly more.
And what size?
Various sizes, but they seem to be quite large.
At least 5 very large ships. I sent the scan over to the other consoles.
Okay, you all start getting the data on your consoles, and the woman, she looks up. Doctor, there's no doubt it's the Borg again. And,
are they between us and the coordinates, or?
As you keep looking at your scan, you're picking up more and more and more vessels coming in. They are seemingly everywhere and just increasing throughout the sector. This isn't going to be easy, the doctor says, and...
Where's Han Solo when you need him?
Captain, I think I should head down to engineering.
I think you might be right. We're going to need all hands on deck, and we have very few hands as it is.
Run to the turbo lift and...
before the door closes, he's going to look at you and give sort of a camaraderie hologram smile and say, welcome to the Delta Quadrant.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop you there. I want to end with you asking that before the door closes. I have to rush back over to the next scene before we wrap this up. So we're going to leave you Voyager people there for now, okay? Okay, going back to the conference room, if I could find it now. Back to the conference room with you, all of you there. Lok, are you sitting down yet?
Am I sitting down yet? Yes.
Okay. I don't know where you want your guys sitting because you're just standing in the back there. Okay.
Okay. Pacing.
Okay. I'll just put you right there next to Drake because you're angry because the captain's in your chair. Okay. All right. So you just sit there watching, kind of impatiently as the young boy who calls himself Q finishes his coffee. Says that's even better than I expected. That was quite good. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. He takes the napkin and he dabs his mouth very carefully. So, if I may get down to business, as I mentioned to you, there was a bit of an issue with one of your ships, the USS DEGRASSE TYSON. And, of course, when the 4 of you hear that name, you instantly recognize it, and even more memories come back of your time on board the ship. He looks at your faces and says, I know those of you with the spike, as Thadagia has mentioned, will be recognizing that ship. But yes, that was the ship that you were serving on before this all happened. Unfortunately, while you were inside the pocket of space that we call, or I should say my father refers to as the oubliette, he really enjoyed utilizing a lot of Earth French words after spending time with Captain Picard, so you'll have to forgive him for that. That was where we kept one of our kind prisoner, because she was a bit of a troublemaker.
I can't imagine kind of trouble one of your kind could make.
Well, if I may be reasonable here, we Q do enjoy having fun at the expense of others occasionally. Occasionally, but she was a troublemaker of a different sort. However, your actions by entering this prison managed to free her in quite an unfortunate way. I don't know how much you recall of what happened at that moment, but some of your kind, I believe they were the Darwin crew, injected her with Borg nanoprobes to awaken her to break out of the prison. Uh, the thing is that, of course, you cannot assimilate a Q. That's impossible. That's why I used to always tease the Borg. But my father always taught me one thing, and that's never antagonize the Borg, and I didn't know why until now. The fact is that when we imprisoned Q, she's in a state where she is mortal and she's frozen in time. So in that split second, the Borg nanoprobes did get injected into her body, and then when she woke up, she resumed being a Q, and she freed herself from the prison. The problem is, she's now assimilated, and she used that to assimilate the entire Q continuum in her own image. It happened in probably the span of, I don't know what your smallest unit of measurement would be, but half of that. But fortunately, there was plenty of time for my father to make me human and banish me from the continuum as a countermeasure to try to stop this from happening. It's using a lot of her power and a lot of her strength to do this, but she is attempting to completely overwrite reality as you know it and establish herself at the center of all creation as basically the one true God of the universe, if I could use such primitive terms for that. So, if she completes her task, then that universe, that life you came from, is going to cease to exist, and this reality that we are currently sitting inside is going to become permanent. Oh, thanks, by the way.
So there is a Borg Q running rampant.
There is a Borg Q running rampant. And our choices are stop her, or, and this is the kind of maybe uncertain, maybe riskier, we don't know if it's going to work part, kill all of you from the DeGrasse Tyson.
I'm gonna prefer the first option.
And, that's why I'm here, because we don't know if that other option's going to work. Unfortunately, I had to share that with the rest of the Obsidian Order and the Dominion, and they are now going to work on the second plan. Surprise!
How do we know we can even trust this human? Q.
Usually don't.
It's not like he can. It's quite the convenient situation that he's now human and can't prove to us that he's a Q.
You have a point there.
Convenient.
You have a point there. You have a point there. However, I would like to point out to you the memories that you are experiencing, all of you, of serving together aboard this USS DeGrasse Tyson. Am I wrong about that? I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I can see it in your face. The thing is, you either work with us, we work together, we try to stop this, or, worst comes to worst, plan B, we could just off you and Cross our fingers.
Looks like we're in a sticky situation.
Well, it's going to get even stickier because, unfortunately, before the Q continuum fell, they sent out a call, and there's going to be a lot of bad things coming your way. And we're going to stop here for tonight because I know Krell has to leave. So let's just
Perfect
say
timing.
final farewells. Thank you very much. We're going to commercial break, and I will catch you in the next section of episode 1 of season 2 Star Trek Next Frontier, titled May You Live in Interesting Times. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Epic.